Yeah, that just keeps happening. Okay, so this is the Erudition Network, and this is the Adroit Living session of the Erudition Network, where we try to make sure that you're getting a well-rounded presentation from what Erudition offers. So with Erudition, I try to make sure that I'm providing techniques that you can use that's you're able to use skillful, cleverly use your hands, your wits, everything, all your resources to build what you want, at least what you need. And this uh, is the series where I'm showing you self-soothing techniques of how to easily build an aquarium system and make this an easy hobby with the modifications that I'm presenting. So this is part three. So picking up where we left off, we're talking about the um, gyre, and this um, is two different ones, and both have different price points. The 300 version, I would not recommend because that is not suitable enough to hang onto the aquarium without you having to keep water in there because the magnet is not strong enough to keep the system up there. But the other one, the 200 series, everything is awesome with that one. So that is the one I would highly recommend because the magnet on there is awesome. It has different modes so you can do different things, such as make the water um, go over the top, go under the bottom, do both at the same time, do alternate. It does different things, so you can move that water a lot easier um, when you're working with like the fish food and you're trying to put the fish feeder on there and the food needs to go in a certain place at a certain time or in a certain way, it works out far better than just leaving everything to chance. So I highly recommend getting the most appropriate jar for your aquarium. For the 200-gallon aquarium, you don't really need that because that aquarium is the momentum of the air filter is going to push everything in the directions, the different directions, and keep everything moving just fine. So you don't have to have that. Maybe for 100 gallons, 75 gallons or more, I would recommend that. This is another filter. Now, a lot of people use this filter. It's filter floss. I I don't recommend it because it gets dirty fast, and that dirt, we're going to move to a different one now. But that dirt, it causes the water to get dirty faster. I don't know how to explain it other than to say it traps the dirt, but all that water running constantly on it is making that dirt just go right back into your aquarium because it's like, oh, yeah, I got the dirt here, but the water is pushing it again. It goes right back into the water, making your water rather cloudy when it doesn't really have to be. Now here you can see it has different pore sizes. Now those pore sizes are what's going to trap the dirt in there and keep the dirt from going back into your aquarium, technically. But if it's dirty, once it gets dirty and you still have it in there, it's going to put that back into your water, making your water cloudy. So um, it's difficult for me to say that I would recommend that because I don't. I would recommend these black sponges instead. So here's some food. This is the fish food. These are freeze dried bloodworms. The reason why I suggest this food is because this is easier food to make sure that your fish are getting like the protein that they need, and that's really a good idea to make sure they're getting protein. You can mix it up. You don't have to feed them that every time, but just sometimes you can feed that to them, and everything be just you know good with you feeding them the blood worms. It's not alive. You don't have to worry about if it falls on the floor. Just vacuum it up. It is dead, so you don't have to worry about it, and they're getting what they need. This is what is called premium beef heart flakes. For half a pound, you can get for $18. You get half a pound. But I found that on Amazon. I wouldn't recommend using that if you have a planted aquarium. If you don't have a planted aquarium and you want to feed them beef heart because you want the fish to like get big and fat and produce fast and it's for discus, then you go ahead and splurge on that. And you're gonna have to clean your water fairly often. So I wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend you just feed them regular fish flakes. Again, I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm just telling you like it is. When the names of the companies that I mentioned that have these products, I'm just telling you what it is, and you can make your decision from there. This is the fish flakes I prefer. It does feed discus. It also feeds any kind of fish. Um, I don't know if I would feed it to guppies. You could feed regular flakes to guppies. What else? Like you can get fish everywhere. Costco, not Costco, the commissary. Yeah, you can get it from Walmart, Target, any place that sells, just plain old fish flakes. Feed them that. Here is some discus flakes. This is a special formula for the discus, and I've used it, but I've had to mix it with other food because it's a really high grade quality fish food. However, sometimes the fish just won't go for it, and it's unfortunate because it says it has a lot of the things that they want. And I know this company, this brand is a really great brand, and usually they have some really great stuff. But just like any other company, they're still building and they're still trying to make modifications and they're taking reviews seriously. So if you have a review, make sure you tell them what your review is in your honest opinion and since you're not sponsored, make sure that you tell them, look, this is what I don't like about it. Can you improve this? People who are sponsored by them, they can't really be as honest because they're sponsored by them. So there are some things that I would definitely change about that fish food, and one of them is the price point and the quantity that's in the bottle. Here is a food that you would like to feed, like your shrimp. I have shrimp in my aquarium. Elliot has a lobster in his aquarium. We give this to them so that, and shrimp, not just shrimp, but snails. Snails have a shell that's made of calcium, and they would like this flake to help to build their snail shell. So they're constantly in need of building that shell. And I have a lot of millite snails that are helping to keep that aquarium algae down and keep it to a science. Again, I'm not sponsored by anyone. I am doing this as a labor of love and volunteering this time to help you to get a nice aquarium at an affordable price and something that's flexible enough so that you can still live your life but enjoy this aquarium. So here we have a fish feeder. This fish feeder is going to allow you to free up some time so you do not have to worry about, am I feeding the fish? Are the fish eating? Did they eat today? This is what I use on this aquarium here. It's on the top of the aquarium. Um, and it's like, yeah, the fish are getting enough to eat because this fish feeder is going to feed them according to the, what do you call it? The timer on there, and then and behind me you can see that really well. You can see how I have it standing on top of the aquarium inside the hole, well above the hole. Now I can program it up a couple of times a day for it to feed a couple of times a day, but you can see here it's really not hard to fix. It's battery operated. You can just program it and forget it until the batteries need to be replaced. Once the battery needs to be replaced, then you have to reprogram it again. But it's definitely worth it, and you can put different types of food in there. You don't have to stick to just one type of food. You can put different foods in there, and it has a little door, a sliding door that opens up where you can slide the door as big as you want or as small as you want in order to feed your fish. and it you can make it revolve 3 times, up to 3 times, and that means it's gonna dump food every time it revolves. So that is a really nice fish feeder to have. I like it, and I recommend it if you want to feed your fish. And the directions are very clear up front and simple. It is not difficult. You can attach it to the side of your aquarium using the thing at the bottom, or you could take that off and let it sit on top of your aquarium like I do. I'm not sponsored by anyone. I'm just telling you these things because this is what I do, and I found it to be very helpful regarding my changing abilities. Um, and what do I mean by changing abilities? Sometimes I'm busy. Sometimes I'm not even here. Sometimes life just keeps happening, and you still want to have a healthy aquarium when you return to look at it whenever you get ready to look at it. And this is how I do it. So you can do it this way as well. Here we have Matthew's aquarium, same deal. You have you have that fish feeder on the back of there. You have a filtration system where if the water evaporates, it's like, oh, okay, it's all right. It's still going to work. And everything's going to be all right, and everyone's going to thrive and survive. So, and you have the pothos press that's hanging on the sides of it, helping to filter the water and the air, making the whole room just a wonderful environment to include providing ambiance. And these are some easy fish that you can have. Now, some people say, what kind of fish? What kind of fish? Now we're on the fish part. So here we go. So these are a different type of fish that are very easy to keep. They are easy because they will tolerate your absence. Let's put it that way, and your neglect. Here's Elliot's aquarium. Here you have a pothos on top. You can also see the fish feeder that is feeding the fish. And on the back, way in the back there in the corner, you can see the fish filter back there, the aquarium filter. And it's not um, like it doesn't take up a lot of room. It's very small, but it's 475 gallon aquarium. So if that's too unsightly for you, you can always downgrade to the appropriate size recommended. I recommend the 75 gallon size, so you don't have to clean it as often. And here is a little foggy because Elliot's aquarium is in transition. It's transitioning from a what is it, a 10 gallon to a 20 gallon. So he had to wait for the algae to build up so he can get algae eaters in there and all kinds of great stuff. So that's in transition. Now what do I mean by algae eater? This is an algae eater. This little guy will work his butt off for you. Okay. Now what do I mean by work his butt off? This algae eater is a powerhouse algae eater, and you can get about 4 of them for $20 aquarium such as this, and they will get that algae up out of there and off of your plants, and it won't eat your plants. But if it does happen to eat some of the plants because it's trying to take the algae off, there are other algae eaters that you can put in your aquarium. Now, here's the specs for that algae eater. Now, I purchased these fish from aquariumfishsale.com, as you can see in the pictures. And it tells you the lifespan expectancy. It tells you where they come from. It tells you a lot of information, and it also tells you what size you can expect when you purchase this fish. Now, you can order this fish online, and it comes um, shipped to you through UPS or FedEx. I think it's FedEx. Okay, so you look at the site, you'll see. So here is Elliot's Lobster. They have a wide variety of different options for you. You can choose from discus. I have not tried their discus, but I think I might try it. But I've used them for quite a number of years, and these are the fish that I recommend here that I'm showing you. Not just the things that I'm going to try. I don't know what that's like, so I have to wait to see what that's like. But this little guy, he comes approximately 2 inches to 3 inches, and he's going to live for about 10 years if you keep his conditions healthy. You keep his environment healthy. He's going to last for a very long time, and he's very intelligent. Lobsters are extremely intelligent and strong. So, and they're smart enough to get out of that aquarium to make sure you have it covered. Here are some guppies. These are the guppies Elliot has because Elliot likes the color green, so he has the green guppies. Now, I like aquariumfishsale.com because they have these guppies in pairs. That means it's already paired for you. They and the price point. I like the price point because the probability of their fish surviving in your aquarium, even though they're traveling quite a distance, they're still going to survive at a higher probability ratio than I've seen with Petco or PetSmart or some of the other online fish stores that I've patronized. These uh, fish, they're just highly recommended because of that alone, the price point and the ability for the fish to survive. Now, the price is definitely a driving factor because I love a good deal, I love a good sale, and they do have sales going on, and you can wait for the sales, and they give you these specs so you can see what you can expect. Now, here are some glowfish. Now, these fish are what a lot of hobbyists like to get for the first time because it's an easy fish to have and they glow and it makes it all pretty. And in Elliot's aquarium, they glow. He has black gravel in there, and yes, it is gravel. It's not porous gravel; it's just plain gravel, and they glow with the light that I showed you that I have on there. It is the same light. They do glow, and it's really pretty. So yes, I would recommend these fish. It's easy to keep once you have them and you have it established. They just do really well, and they are also in my 200-gallon aquarium. This is a female anglerfish. Now this is a workhouse fish. She is gonna have babies. She is gonna breed, and she's gonna multiply that aquarium. So you don't have to keep buying fish. And if you do, it's because you want them, and not because you had to in order to keep it. And this is what you can expect when you purchase those fish. Here are some more glowfish. Again, this is a fish that's easy to keep, and a lot of people have them for starter fish. This group of fish, I should say, was on sale. They have sales, so I highly recommend you keeping your eyes open for those sales. It is worth and that's what you can expect from the size. And here again are those same. These are some dino fish, but it's a six pack. They have different sizes, so I would highly recommend you keep your eyes open, get different packages, and just keep your eyes open for sales and the easier fish. These are easy fish and affordable. That's a really great affordable price, especially considering how you don't have to look at the dead fish. Okay, here's the cherry red shrimp that I have in this aquarium, and Sean Anthony also has these in his aquarium along with some Norite snails. These guys will be hardy. They are a very hardy shrimp. They are also cleaner fish. They are sanitation engineers, so they will help keep it clean. They eat algae. They also like fish food and those calcium flakes. And this is what you can expect when you purchase it from this location. Now, the reason why I suggest this over the others that I've tried, again, the probability for them to survive. Here's the Nerite snails. Now, this is just one of the many Nerite snails that they have. This snail is a really great snail. I think I took a picture. They have like when you see them suctioned onto the aquarium, and you get really close on it, you can see they have like two teeth that are sitting there scraping the glass. And even though that's like that, they still do not damage your plants. So if you have some caked on algae on your plants and you think there is no hope for that plant, don't cut it. Get you some Norite snails. Those Norite snails are going to get that off of there for you, and so will these hill stream loaches. Now, I love the reticulated hill stream loaches. I don't like the fact that the price point has changed. When I first fell in love with it, it was far more affordable, and that's why I was able to get them and experience them and fall in love with them. Over time, things do change, and price points also change. But this is what you can expect from this loach. It likes fast moving water, but it can also tolerate water that's moving like this. Matthew has them in his aquarium. They used to be in a 3 gallon aquarium, and they bred, and everything was really nice. I really liked Matthew's aquarium, and he wanted to upgrade, so I went and upgraded him because he's an honor roll student and he does really well with his academics. So why not? So I upgraded his 3 gallon to a 20 gallon, and now his fish will hopefully continue to breed and um, grow. And I just really like his aquarium. He always takes very good care of his aquariums. Here we have this loach. Now this looks more like an eel. It is not an eel, but it acts like an eel as well. It is a loach, and it likes to be in the substrate, kicking up some of that dirt, and that's helpful so the filter can catch it and so it can circulate. It's also in a 200 gallon aquarium and the 75 gallon. So you can keep all that around and keep it clean. And that's what we do in our retention engineer team. Here's what you can expect from those loaches. And I would recommend them because, from what I understand, they're extremely hardy. I've often heard people say they thought it was dead, they didn't think anything was alive in the aquarium, and they look in there and there is one of those loaches. So I would highly recommend them as well. I'm enjoying them, and they're easy to keep. They're very forgiving. And here is Cory catfish. This Cory catfish is pretty awesome. It can hang in there with mildly aggressive to fairly aggressive fish, but it can also be in there with these peaceful schooling fish without killing any of the babies. It won't eat your babies, but it will keep your aquarium nice and clean, and it's very helpful to have those. They have different types of quarries. This is just one of them. It's the Julie quarry, and it's a nice catfish. Um, and here's what you can expect of it, and it lives for 5 years under good conditions. I have experienced that. It's really an awesome fish. Here is another type of snail, a murite snail. These murite snails will not breed in your water. It's not a freshwater snail that it'll breed in there because it requires a great deal of salt in order for it to breed. But it will lay eggs. The eggs will not hatch. Here's what you can expect out of that murite snail and snails of its kind. Here's another hill stream loach that I really like. Now, they I've seen them in this aquarium go. You could see one right there, right back there in the middle. He's on that sponge and he's sucking on that sponge. He loves that sponge. All of the sanitation engineers love that sponge because that's where all the dirt that they want anyway. That's what they're trying to clean up anyway. So they're trying to get that and suck all of that up and clean it up, even though your filter is already doing that. So here you have those hill stream loaches. This is the bottom of those hill stream loaches. You can see that there. They look a little like stingrays, like tiny stingrays. They're really cool looking. And they will breed in there. Some people have had difficulties getting them to breed. I like them to breed because I love having free help. Okay, like free water when it rains. That's free water for my garden. But these loaches will. They're a powerhouse. They will eat they will not eat the plants, but they will eat the algae right off of those plants. All that stubborn algae that you just didn't think there was any hope for to get it off. You have a whole lot of algae built up on your glass, and you're like, oh man, I don't want to get in there and scrub that off. Throw a couple of these guys in there. They'll take care of it. And here's what you can expect from that kill stream loach. And the temperatures, they like all of these fish that I'm mentioning today, they can survive in 75 to 82-degree temperatures. So make sure you have your heater. Here You have a cardinal tetra. Now they say the cardinal tetra is not for everybody and it's only for experts, but I think that you can do it with this particular company because I have had such a high success rate. I didn't even realize that it's like, oh, you should be an expert because you have to have this type of water and that type of water and this all this kind of stressful type stuff. And it's like, man, I tried it out. I'm like, man, this is simple. I could have did this day one. So it comes in this bag, um, in this box too, and it's covered with a lid, of course, and it has heat packs in there sometimes when it's winter. In the summer, it won't have a heat pack, but that is so that the fish stay warm. And here's what you can expect. They do come in different packages. Some come single, some come in packages. It's all up to you what you want. Now here's a special little guy. Now this whiptail catfish also comes in the shipping. Um, this guy, he is a workhorse as well. It's an algae eater, and it's a unique little thing that I've never seen before, having seen it here. And this guy will eat the algae. They will breed. They love Malaysian wood. I have Malaysian wood in my 200-gallon aquarium. They have bred a couple of times, and they have had their babies to come and help them clean things up. And they kept that 200-gallon so clean that I don't really get in there and clean that glass because they do. But they do get a little lazy over time. So yeah, it was difficult to say. Not have to get in there once they get lazy and they don't want to do it. So I got neurite snails and I have other things in there that's helping to keep the algae down. Here's what you can expect from this particular algae eater. Now, this algae eater, um, it looks like it'll grow kind of big, but really 6 inches with that is just more the tail than anything. And they love to hide, so you really don't have to worry about how big it gets. You get a couple of them and still get you some nice snails and some of the hill stream roaches to make sure that that's constantly getting cleaned. Those hill stream roaches are workhouses, okay? And here you have another catfish, a cory cat. It's smaller, and this smaller catfish is for those aquariums where you have 3-gallon aquariums, and it's not going to get very big. It's only going to get 1 inch, and that 1 inch is it's a lot depending on your size aquarium. But a 20-gallon aquarium, you can get maybe about 4 of them if that's what you're going to get. But I would recommend two of the just regular size cory catfish. Now here are some nice guppies. These are some pretty hardy guppies, and I would recommend them because they're pretty, they breed fast, and they don't get too big. And they come as a pair. And that price point, I'm just loving the price point. A lot of times I get the ones that's about $6 for two, and give them a couple of weeks. They're gonna have a whole tank full of fish for you to look at, and you would not have had to pay a whole lot of money to get you a whole lot of shellfish. And they're gonna, adjust. They'll adapt to the amount of food you're putting in. So it's not like you have to go way out of your way to keep putting a whole lot of food in there for them to eat. I just love them because they're just easy fish. They're hardy, and you can hardly go wrong. You really don't even, just give them some fresh water, and they're happy. Just saying, it's very easy. Here are some glass catfish. Now you've seen these glass catfish in my 200-gallon aquarium. I've had them for years. They're so easy. They're very good starter fish. If you have an aquarium and you're like, oh, I would like a unique fish, this fish is see through. You can't really see through it, but you can see through it. But you can't see through it to the other side of wherever they are. But it's a really cool and interesting fish to have. And they're schooling fish, and when they school together, it's just so awesome. Here's what you can expect from the size. Um, and they can live for quite a good length of time. I'm going to say about 5 years in good condition at the very least. Here are some other really nice fish that would be a great starter fish. It's also a schooling fish, and they come. You can ask for you could make a note in there to ask them for a male, female, or whatever it is. Get a group so you'll have a school. Get a group of four at least, so you'll at least have a school, and they will breed in your aquarium. So that's something that you can look forward to. Here is what you can expect. They can live for about 5 years, and 4 inches isn't really as big as you may think. You've seen them in my 200-gallon aquarium, and compared to the discus, they're not as big as you would imagine. Now, here is a clown loach, a pleco, I'm sorry, and this will eat the algae as well. They're really great when they want to work. A lot of times they like to hide. A lot of times they may get lazy. So it's a great algae eater, but sometimes they're a little slow with getting that algae out of there. Here's what you can expect. Uh, and 7 years is a long time for that algae eater to live, especially if it's like, in comparison to other fish. But I highly recommend having at least one. And here's a much bigger algae eater that this store carries. It's a nice algae eater. It's beautiful. I really loved it. I enjoyed it. And here's what you can expect. It will live for 15 years under good condition. It will grow to 20 inches, so you will need a much bigger aquarium than a 20-gallon aquarium. Okay, here is I like this catfish because this catfish, you see the wings, it has like a little golden stripe on the fins on the side. I like that fish because that alone. A lot of these curry cats have different themes to it, where it's like the little variations is how you tell them apart. But those little variations is what really makes me like them. So that's why I like the ones that I picked in particular. But this is what you can expect out of that catfish. And it will live for 5 years in good condition, and it is a really hardy fish. Very hard to kill that fish, but I wouldn't put anything past, chance. And this is what it looks like. It comes when you order it. It comes in 2 days once they pack it, and they pack it looking like this. It comes in a box this side up, live fish. But some people just ignorant. They don't really want to deliver packages, or they don't want to take care of the package, and they throw the package. Don't worry about it. It's well packed in there. They have bubbles and all this kind of things in there, and it's packed up in there so tight that it won't bust the bags, it won't break, and they package things really well. If I get that discus, I'll show you how they package it. But this is how they package fish so that the fish will not bust the bag. They can't bust the bag, and no matter how much the people or manhandling your package, it will not break. But once you get that package, you want to float the bag in your aquarium um, for a little while and open the top of the bag, bust it open, crack it or cut it, whatever. Get it open, pour a little bit of your aquarium water in that bag and let it acclimate to your water for at least 10 minutes. Once it has had a taste of your aquarium water, it is okay to take that aquarium water that's in that bag, put that bag over a bucket, pour the bag of fish into a net, let the water fall into the bucket, and take the fish net with the fish in it and put it into your aquarium. And voila, you have happy fish. Now, here's a trick that you might want to use. If you're not really sure if your aquarium is ready for fish, but you want to buy fish right now because you're ready for the fish, buy the fish, empty one of the bags of the water into your aquarium, let it acclimate that way, and let it circulate, and then add the fish in there with that bag of water. And guess what? If you'll have a higher success rate. You don't. That's not something that I would like strongly suggest that you do because the water is it has been sitting stagnant for a long time for the process of shipping, and that water can get a little toxic over time because it's not filtering. is just sitting there stagnant and getting dirty, and they're pooping and peeing in there, and that dirty water is now being added to your main aquarium water. Now, it may be safe if you have the kind of filtration that I have and that I suggest, and it's pushing that water through a lot of times really fast with your pumps and everything. One bag will probably be fine to filter out all of the toxins out of that water before it can harm your fish. So that's what I'm saying. But again, it's a 50-50 chance. I had success with it because I wasn't really sure if the fish would acclimate to the aquarium water, and I was ignorant and didn't know what I was doing. So I put the water in there along with the fish, and everything was all right. But I have to give account to the filtration that I had going. I had a lot of filtration going. It was turning over like more than what it was recommended because I don't like to clean the aquarium. So I had so much filtration on the aquarium that it was turning over so many times that no matter what I did to the aquarium, it still cleaned it and everything was fine. For example, I had some ignorant guests to come over to my house and pour um, soda into my 200-gallon aquarium. And because the filtration system was so strong and turning over so many times and cleaning well, everything was, but I had some cleaning. So the live the a system I had to clean. My sons had to help me, but that goes to speak volumes for over filtering your water because you just can't tell what will happen. And I would technically call that technical difficulty. I would put that under that category. I wouldn't normally divulge that that happened, but I want you to understand it is very important to have a strong filtration system, something that's more than what's required, especially when you don't want to clean the aquarium, especially when you don't really know what you're doing and you might make a mistake. This will give you a major grace that can't you can't take lightly. So I strongly suggest um, having an aquarium system where you have a filtration that's really good. You might pay a lot more for it, but yeah, it may take a little bit more effort than what's required, but yeah, it's worth it. Again, I am not sponsored. All of this information is coming from just not just love, all love. Okay, so here we also have the plants. Now I've ordered plants from different places, and I have at least two that I would recommend. Here, you can see a aquarium plant from a new place that I tried out called wetplants.com. Now, they had some issues, but they worked through the issue. They didn't have what I ordered, what I wanted. They called. They said, "Well, what can we do?" And we worked it out. Everything was fine. Everybody always has some issues. Even if aquariumfish.com, aquariumplants.com, everybody has issues. What I like and why I can recommend it is because they know how to work through their problems. They know how to solve the problems instead of saying, "Oh well, we just refunded you your money," or we made a guess. Refunding you your money might be the best guess, but somebody that's going to take the time to care about what's going on with your money and your package and your products and your services are being, you know, considered higher than what you might see it elsewhere. That's what I'm talking about. So, yeah, I would recommend even if a place has some problems, if they're working it out, stick with them. So, when you order these plants, it'll look something like this. And these are the type of plants that I like. Well, I guess I won't go past that too fast. It'll look a lot like the fish package, and you'll have those fish up in there. I mean, the plants in there. You'll have a heat pack if it's cold out. If it's not, you won't. And it'll be really neatly packaged. We had a couple of technical difficulties with these slides, and I did have the pictures ready, but due to technical difficulties with the slides and the streaming network, it just didn't work out. So you just have to remember what I said and the pictures that I showed you already. So here is one of the plants that I would highly recommend. This plant does not need to be in the gravel, but it can and it will thrive. It can be attached to your decor. In the 200-gallon aquarium, you see a big false decor in the middle and it's covered with these guys. These guys are thriving just attached to that false decor. It can also be attached to Malaysian wood. I like Malaysian wood. It can also be attached to the lava rock, like you see here in this 200 and this 20-gallon aquarium. We have some plants attached to the lava rocks, but some of them are planted under it, and the lava rock is holding it down. I mean, not that it needs to, but it's nice to. So here's what you can expect from that plant. Now, aquariumplants.com gives you all these specs, and it's very good working with them because they also they'll let you know. Look, we don't have it. They'll send you emails. They won't necessarily call you, but they'll send you an email and tell you what you need to know, what you need to be aware of. And I love the communication with them because when I call, they're polite, they're helpful, they're knowledgeable, and that's most important. They're knowledgeable, and they normally go out of their way, even though I'm just the average Joe or Jane or whatever. So anyway, they'll go out of their way to make sure that you have the service that you would like, so you can have so they can have your repeat business. This is an awesome sale, and this is what you can expect from this plant. Here is another really great plant that I would highly recommend. It's easy to keep, and it's all they're showing you right here. It's grown in the water already, so you don't have to worry about it coming from dry to wet. And here's what you can expect out of that plant. Now, here's another plant that I really like, and it's a really great price point. What I like about this is that they also, as it's advertised, if it's advertised that it's that big, it is that big. And I love the roots on it, and the roots are a major part of its ability to survive. So, um, what you can do is get, let me see, how can you do, okay, yeah, go ahead. So what you can do is look on there and see all the specs. It'll even tell you, and you can look on YouTube to see different ways that other people have used this plant. I put this one in the substrate. Here's another plant. This Amazon sword is the part that you see in the big 200-gallon aquarium hanging at the top, suspended in air, creating a marshland for the guppies and the guppy babies or any babies that want to be in there, such as the whiptail loaches, and whatever breeds in there. They go into the marshes and they can eat off of there. They can hide in there from the bigger fish. It's just a really awesome thing because it doesn't have to be submerged in the gravel or in the substrate. But here in this aquarium, you can see this big, that's what that really big aquarium plant is with the long leaves. It is submerged in the gravel. So you can do it different type of ways. It'll work either way, and that's why I recommend it. Here's what you can expect from that plant. I recommend it because it's extremely hardy, and it will continue to get babies and continue to adapt to your aquarium water. And sometimes it comes with little babies attached to them, coming off different stems. And I love it when those happen because those little things you can plant somewhere else and keep it going, keep it going. Now here is they have lava rocks, and these lava rocks are very porous, and it's pretty big. And as you can see in my aquarium, um, it's pretty. You've seen it in Matthew's aquarium as well as Elliot's. This lava rock is really helpful to keeping the sanitation engineers happy, and it's a place for like the shrimp to hide and eat, and they can definitely find places where if they have babies, the babies can go over there and eat very heartily, and everyone's so happy. Here's some Malaysian wood. Now, I like this Malaysian wood. AquariumPlantSales.com also sells this Malaysian wood, and I purchased the Malaysian wood from AquariumPlantSales.com. Maybe a really large log, but the smaller ones I purchased from AquariumFishSale.com, and it was really great. Um, the long log, not so much. I would not recommend, but the plants I would definitely recommend. Any hardware that you purchase, it'll come in that same bag, and they know how to separate it so that it doesn't puncture a hole in the bag, and you can get all of your items in that one shipment. And again, I'm not sponsored. No one is sponsoring me to say these things. These things are a labor of love. And while we transition to get the other slides, I just want to while Teddy transitions to get the other side, I just want to say, um, these plants and these fish, it's not just about you know um, getting just anything. It's about getting things that will survive, things that won't be a hassle, things that are easy to keep and maintain, so that you can set it and forget it. So you don't have to say, "Oh man, the fish died." Oh well, this. Yeah, they have arrive alive guarantee, and then you'll see. You can do this. You don't have to lift a lot of water. You don't have to carry anything heavy. You don't have to frequently look at the aquarium and keep these this presentation was for you. If your abilities have changed over the years and you've had to give up this hobby because you just don't have the time, you don't have the energy, you don't have the money, you have the want but you don't have everything else that goes with the want, try what I've told you in this series about no lifting of any water of any sort at any time, and you can keep this aquarium and be happy with the aquarium. It's You can see here that these fish are very happy. They're very happy, and the water has evaporated just a bit, but it's not so much. You see here, it's evaporated just a bit, but it's not so much that it's like, oh man, what am I gonna do? And that's after a week. Now, if you want to make sure that the fish do not run out of water, you can always put one of these on there, like I showed you before, and you can even get creative. Get the bigger rain catcher barrels, put one on either side of your aquarium, throw a tablecloth over top of it so nobody even sees it, and throw a plant on top of it. And program this little gadget to, come out of either one of those at different dates, different times, whatever. You can arrange it to be whatever you want it to be, and you won't have to lift any water. And when you go to refill those canisters that's feeding the water into your aquarium, just use the pump. Use the pump to put the water back into wherever you have that bottle located, wherever you have that rain catcher barrel located. And guess what? No lifting. And it's going to top that water off for you. And it won't have as many problems as you would see in the normal aquarium system, because you've solved it. Well, I've solved it, and you're using it. So you'll see that now it's even easier to have this aquarium. It's even easier to be back into the hobby and enjoy the fish without having to clean the aquarium a lot, without having to be concerned if the fish are going to die. There's a balance going on in here. In this aquarium, um, we have guppies, We have hill stream loaches just sucking onto the glass right there. We have murite snails. It's at least four hill stream loaches, two quarry cats, four of the banded loaches siphoning through the gravel, 10 um, cherry shrimp. Um, what else? I don't know um, how many murite snails because they came from the other aquarium, and I always put way too many snails in because I want to keep the plants nice and happy and healthy, and they will keep um, the algae off the plants, off the glass, off everything, and they will also um, get it off the core, the rocks, the gravel, and they will eat food. They will eat the food. Any plants that die, and it's like, oh, that plant is dying. The murine snails will eat the dead parts of the plants as well. So, and sometimes so will the shrimp. So it's everybody's working in there so that they can do what you don't have to do. If they're not in there, then you have to do it. So I would strongly recommend having a balance of fish that's supposed to do all these tasks. And if you find that, well, I still have a whole lot of algae, maybe your light is on too long. If you're seeing that you still have a whole lot of algae, maybe your fish got a little lazy and you need to add some more murite snails in there. Maybe you need to add some more hill stream loaches in there. Maybe you need to do something to add the fish in there instead of adding more work to your workload. And then you can go back and then do the steps of getting fish without having to do anything other than save some fish and put them on in there after you acclimate them safely. So, can you do this without having all those strains and pains and canisters to walk around and carry and hold? And yes, you can. And when it's time for you to clean that sponge filter, it is very easy. You could take it out, wring it out, in some clean water. Yes, I know. That's so not recommended by experts. They don't want you to rinse it out in clean water because it's killing all your good bacteria. And I understand that. And I still do it anyway. And why do I do it anyway? And take that risk that I'm killing off the good bacteria because it's a planted aquarium and I have other things in the aquarium that's also holding that good bacteria. So I can take that risk to take the sponge out and clean the sponge really good and put the sponge back in there. Now, what is suggested is that you do not do that. You rinse it in aquarium water and then you put it back in there. But it's still holding so much dirt that it's like I just can't do it. So I do it with the clean water. And you have two different sources of filters in there, so you can do one at a time. You can do the big one at one time. It'll take at least a year for this aquarium for me to have to go in there and do anything, if ever, if then. And then the sponges that's behind there, that's attached to the air pump, um, it's on there. So if I decide maybe my water is getting a little cloudy, maybe it didn't work out like I thought it would, I take that sponge off, leave the other sponge that's attached to the air pump in there. Don't clean that one. It's holding the good bacteria. Take that mat out, clean it, and put it back in there like nothing happened and everything's fine because I cleaned it with fresh water. Everything's fine. It's like I'm starting brand new with a new mat. You can also do that. Take that mat out of there, put a new one in, no biggie because you still have that other filter back there. Now, if you want to take that filter out and leave the mat in there, you can do that as well. And you can rinse it out in clean, fresh water and put it back in there in the back of your aquarium, and it still won't harm your fish. But again, this is just my method so that I can be as busy as I am in real life and still have a little time for online stuff like these little videos. But if you have, you know, some critical thinking skills of your own that you like to share and tell how you made things happen for you, and it's unconventional and probably irks the crap out of some, you know, some people, then please feel free to share that. And I would love to hear it. And if you want to experts who are sponsored by some people who would really appreciate it if you all wouldn't spread misinformation. It's not misinformation if it's working for you and if it's worked for 30 years. Sorry, it's not misinformation. So I'm just saying. Um, but if there's some other people who have some techniques out here that may not be as suitable, these techniques that I've used and have been tried and true over the years are that way because of the things that I do already, and I don't clean it like other people may clean it. So that bacteria is built up with everything that it touches. So by the time I do clean it and get it really clean and crystal clear and all that great stuff, and so anal that I'm just cleaning it and it has a bacteria boom, so it has a little white cloud for a couple of days. Even still, the fish still survive and they thrive and they still have babies because it's so much decor in there that's retaining that good bacteria that it balances things out until it cycles up again. So it's really not a problem when you're doing it the way that I do it. If you have any questions, any comments, you go ahead and put it in there. But you can always put this recording on repeat and try different things. Just take from anything and everything that you know and make it into what you want it to be, even if it wasn't built for that, even if no one thought that it should be used for that. Who says you can't use it for that? If it works, it works. And if it's more affordable to do it that way, do it that way. And that's been my series for Easy Aquarium Hobbies. This is part 3. I hope you saw part 1 and 2. See you next time.